Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a little Q&A video that we're going to be doing with Dan John shortly once he gets in the room. So we're just going to wait and see. We're just going to let a few people in. Hello, hello, hello. And then Dan John will be in shortly. So I'm just gonna, just make sure, well, as you're coming in, team, just make sure that your microphones are muted just while we're getting in. So I hope you're all okay. There's Dan John just coming in now.
Evening, Joseph.
Evening, evening. Afternoon to Dan John, who's just entered the room.
Hello.
Hello, how are you, Dan John? You okay?
Good, good, thank you.
How's things over in the States, Dan?
They're replacing my street, and they broke a gas line today.
Yeah.
And then we had an earthquake a couple weeks ago, which broke my sprinklers. So between sprinklers and gas lines, I would be very careful about walking around near me right now.
How's the whole lockdown thing going to your end then? What's the score?
Well, I'm fine. I can work at home, but it's been starting to really get on people. It's been starting to gnaw. And we don't have a good response as a country. We didn't do a good job.
Okay, so what I really want to get into, Dan, obviously, there's a lot of guys and girls out there right now that are struggling with, motivation for training, and that's a given anyway. But how would you go about trying to set a training routine in place, especially those that are working? So we've got a lot of NHS staff that work for us, that train with us, who are on shift patterns and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on creating a routine.
Yeah, we have to break that question down just a little bit because let's talk about the shift workers later, okay? Because that's always a problem no matter what happens. But and I've been telling people, personal trainers and coaches, it's like, if you wanted to get online and coach now, you should have done that 9-10 months ago, 2 years ago. To have enough stuff, to have enough information ready to go when needed, that's the most proactive thing you had to do. And a lot of people, to be honest, I've been watching their workouts, like this one local girl that we know, and she says, follow me. She walks over to a kettlebell, does a snatch with it, goes to half kneeling, does a press with it, stands back up, does a swing. Follow me now, and then repeats the other way. It's like, follow you. What the hell are you doing? So let's talk about the issue with people getting to work out. Personally, I don't know how you can go a day without working out because I would probably begin to kill people. And that would be probably a bad thing. But I don't know what to tell you, Joe, on motivation. I've never been good on motivation.
Guys, I'm just gonna interrupt you all just for a second. I'm just gonna mute the whole room, and then if you just want to unmute your microphone in a second once I've done that, just so that there's no interruptions with the chat. I'll just do that just now. Just hang fire, team. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay, so Dan, if you just want to unmute yourself, buddy, and then we'll get cracking into the other questions. So, Dan, I just wanted to ask another couple of things then. So we've got, obviously, once this whole lockdown thing happened, a lot of guys and girls out there have been left with, little to no equipment to train with at home. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on, improvised home workout equipment, planned workouts, that kind of thing.
This gets us right back. I have that thing called Dan John University, and there's the park bench. There's a workout generator. Very first question is, what equipment do you have? But just because you don't have equipment doesn't mean you don't need to work out. I think the mistake people are making, Joe, is that they're falling back. I don't know what you guys call it, jumping jack. Jumping jack? Yeah. And burpees. People are falling onto burpees and jumping jacks as some kind of home workout. And I don't think that's a good idea. They're a little bit too jarring. They're a little bit, they're exhausting to do, which isn't what you want to do when you train. this is an ideal time to do joint mobility work, you know, with the wrists, the fingers, the elbows, every joint in your body. A lot of people who are really stressed will probably find more good out of a nice joint mobility. We do every Thursday. That's all we do is joint mobility. It's called Tonic Thursday. And we do a little bit every single day. But you guys call them press ups there, but the press up, the body weight squat, combining those two, just do, you know, I gave someone a workout the other day and they laughed at it. I said, I know you're laughing because you didn't do it, but 10 push-ups followed by 10 bodyweight squats, 9 push-ups followed by 9 bodyweight squats, 8, 8, 7, 7. It's only 55 push-ups and 55 squats, but the secret is getting up and down off the ground from the press up squat. So you don't need any equipment at all, but you have to have that weird kind of motivation. But what's been nice for me, Joe, this is my street right there, the one that's being torn up and the gas is leaking. No smoking, no smoking today, okay? I don't want to die. One of the things people are doing is I've noticed people are going for walks more. And to be honest, I think a walk with your dog, a walk with the kids is miles better than most of the crap I've seen so far online. People are going from not training to trying to keep up with some 112-pound fitness girl. Some 53-kilo fitness girl who's jumping up and down. Look at me, do this with me. And this is not a realistic thing. And that would be my number one concern. When we come to the shift workers, though, I work nights and I've been giving some people advice. I'm not sure there's a more difficult thing to do than shift work. Now, I don't know what you guys call it there in where you're from, but here in the States, 10 o'clock at night, basically to about 6 in the morning is called the night shift. And then we have the normal shift. And that middle one is called the swing shift, like 3:30 to midnight.
Okay.
They've done studies about how unhealthy that 3:30 to midnight shift is. That's the least healthy thing you can do. And then I've worked with some people who are like first responders, and they put out these new things where they work, like my brother-in-law, 24 hours, and then 2 days later, a 12-hour shift, and then a couple days later. If any of you can tell me how to plan for that, a workout in that, where you're struggling with sleep deprivation, you're struggling with, I mean, how many issues you'd be struggling with? I think if we're big kids, we have to think about the health of our workers by not allowing them to have those insane, crazy swing, not just the swing shift, 3:30 to midnight, but the crazy variations. There's no normal time. How do you hang out with your children? How do you do anything? And that's something I'd really like people to think about, but it's too late now. We have to help address people. I still think that walking outside with your skin exposed as best as you can is going to be as good for your immune system as a lot of the nonsense we preach. We know that naturally occurring vitamin D is very helpful. Here's some advice I took about dealing with things. I'm now eating sauerkraut every day, and really I just shovel a couple of forkfuls in my mouth. It's not very gorgeous to look at, because the probiotics that are in things like sauerkraut and kimchi and any fermented foods are supposed to help your gut biome, which helps your immune system. You know, I'm 63 and I have a history of a disease called pleurisy. I'm sure it's called the same thing there, right? It's instead of the lungs filling up, the area outside the lungs fills up with infection. So I am a prime candidate to die during this virus. I've got 2 strikes against me, my age and my history of lung issues. So I'm taking the walking in the sunlight very seriously. I'm taking the sauerkraut very seriously. I'm trying to improve my sleep quality very seriously. And your friends who are on these shift works, man, we just got to, what you got to tell them is do your best. You know, Buddha's last words to his disciples, do your best. I mean, if you can get a workout in, that will actually probably help you long term. You might be tired, but if you can just do something. And that's why I like walking. And we have here in the United States these, they're called park horses. They're they're inside of parks. So you walk up to the first station, you do push-ups. You walk up to the second station and you hang. You walk up to the third station, you do a couple dips. I think that's the best thing for shift workers, because just getting to the park, well, now you have to get home, so that's doubled your walk. No matter, and what's going to happen is that slow. We talk a lot here in the United States about, where I live, about avalanches. You know, it's the last snowflake that little teeny snowflake causes the avalanche. Well, I also think the opposite happens too when it comes to getting people going again. You just keep adding little snowflakes, and then all of a sudden, Rob Wolf calls this the hormonal cascade. Then all of a sudden everything goes, and you feel better, you look better, you have a little bit more spring in your step, you sleep better. When you sleep better, you wake up and you start to get the momentum going the other way. My biggest concern about the stay in place that we have, especially the way it was instituted in some of our bigger cities, is your options were none. You couldn't go out. Now they're releasing that a little bit, but I mean, I'm very lucky. My gym is right there, right below me, and I have lots of parks I can walk to very easily. And I think that's the reason I've been kind of positive during this time, is I have a chance to get out. And I joke all the time. I believe in training sessions, except for now. I think you need to work out some things. You got to work out the fact that your kids are driving you crazy. You got to work out the fact that you want to kill your spouse. You want to work out the fact that you hate the color of the paint on the wall. And you never notice it before until now. And you want to work out that Donald Trump is your president. You want to work it out. You want to work it out. So this is one of the few times I've ever felt that the word work out is actually appropriate versus training session. That was a long-winded thing, but I think you get
okay. Yeah, I think we all took quite a lot from that. I could see a few faces laughing at the killing your spouse statement there. But so I'm just wondering, Dan. Obviously, there's a few things that we've incorporated into our training programs. So we're doing a live PT session with our clients 3 times a day, just to make sure that everybody can access at some point during the day. And we're trying to stick to what we call our fundamental movement patterns, our squats, our pushes, our pulls. But I'm just wondering, I remember a chat that you gave at the IFBA meet a couple of years ago now, and it really helped me develop my programming. So I just wanted to know a little bit about what you call a fundamental movement pattern, and why you would call it a fundamental movement pattern, and obviously the importance of that for everybody, not just, big athletes and whatever.
Not just the athletes, yeah. Everybody else. 1 second, yes. What's that? Can you just fix it, whatever it is?
I can try.
Okay, sorry. Sprinkler guy needs me. So listen, to me, fundamental human movements are those basic movements that as a strength coach we can do. And I break it down very small. There's only 5. Push, getting the environment away from you. The environment can include an opponent. Pull, bringing the environment to you. Squat, which is different, of course, than a hinge. The squat is, sitting between your legs. Hinge is doing basically the standing long jump. And then loaded carries. Now, from there, we include what we call the 6th movements, and that's everything else. But basically, in our world, it's horizontal and vertical. So if you're climbing a tree, or you're doing monkey bars, or you're climbing a rope, I love that. I think that's all good stuff. If you're on the ground and you're crawling, if you're doing Turkish get-ups, if you're rolling, if you're doing somersaults, whatever you do is what we do. Now, someone's going to raise their hand. They say, well, what about this? Well, I'm a strength coach, and my focus is in the weight room. Most of the time, what about this gets taken care of by the athlete in the field of play. Having said that, the best progress we ever make with normal people is when we get them. By the way, someone's going to say, what about vertical and horizontal pushes and pulls? And I just want to slap you when I hear that, because the last thing most Americans need is more pushing and, bench press. We have the cult of the bench press here. That they don't need more of that. But if you can get people to do a push, do a pull, do a squat, do a hinge movement like a deadlift or a kettlebell swing and do some farmer walks, almost universally, the big stuff is taken care of. Have them get up and down off the ground for cardio, and have them roll around or learn how to take a fall. And you make a huge investment for the rest of their life. Now, I get it. There's other exercises and there's other options. But I think what happens is that people get all caught up in those other ones. A buddy of mine is a famous athlete. He's trying to be a trainer now. And all I do is add up. So when you send me a program, I just add up 3 numbers: push, pull, squat, because I feel those numbers should be the exact same. He'll send me a weekly program with 237 pushes, 100 pulls, and 25 squats. And I'll say, no, those numbers have to be the same. And then finally he's figured out that I want about 5 sets of 5 in the push, pull, and squat, which is 75 moves a week. And it's going, weirdest thing, we started doing that. And everybody started feeling better. It's like, well, yeah, because you're balanced your training. You made the squat as important as the bench press. Yeah, I did that, huh? Yeah. So that's what I did. So yeah, that's basically what they are. And the thing is, once you move away from there, there's a phrase I use from Polynesia: sitting on a whale, fishing for minnows. Sitting on a whale, fishing for minnows. Minnows are a small fish. Yeah. Do you guys?
Yeah, I think we get the point of that one. You sat on a whale fishing for the littler fish.
Yeah, you're looking for anchovies, and the whales are the push, pull, hinge, squat, loaded carry. And I'm not saying that the other stuff is all have, but if you take care of those, it's like if you eat vegetables, protein, and drink water at every meal. You eat vegetables, you have protein and drink water at every meal. You're doing okay. It's a good program. If you sleep 8 or 9 hours a night soundly, you probably got recovery tapped in. Sleep is the whale of recovery. Veggies and protein are the whale of nutrition. Water cracks me up here in the States when someone says, are the kids hydrating? No, but I haven't drinking water. You guys get that? See, in the States, we always have Gatorade.
Yeah, definitely.
Might as well just give a kid a can of syrup and just say, now go run. Here, drink some maple syrup. It'll be good for you.
So Dan, I was just going to ask another question with regard to the training thing. And I know you'd mentioned this and you'd made quite a funny comment on it in that chat on the IFBA meet. And it was when we get questions all the time, especially when people are just starting out, not so much the guys that have been with us for a long time, but we get the question about abs and how to train them, what's the most effective way,
Yeah.
am I doing everything that I need? I want abs and blah, blah, blah. So I was just wondering, what your take on that and, what you would say about that.
Absolutely. Well, for pure exercises, the best ab exercise is vomiting. Vomiting hits the ab wall perfectly. The ab wall is a fast twitch muscle, and if you just get yourself a nice vomit, you're going to hit it perfectly. Sneezing can be very good. Orgasming can be very good. And that's how I train my abs. When people say, Dan, how did you get that 8-pack? And I'll say, well, I was single a long time. It was a joke, and I apologize for being
That's excellent.
That's why if you go to a track meet and you look at like the javelin throwers, they all have great ab walls, because the javelin is like sticking your finger in an outlet, and that's what builds the abs. Now you have to be careful, but if you do find like guys who are good deadlifters usually have magnificent abs. Olympic lifters very often have just great abs. When I was young, we used to think of the ab wall as the other spinal erectors. So the spinal erectors on the back here, you got those two pythons. The ab wall is their cousin. And we were taught as Olympic lifters that the ab wall here was the 4 pillars, the 2 spinal erectors and the ab wall, okay, the 2 sides of the ab wall. And boy, I tell you, that changes the way you think of things. But if you talk to Stu McGill, he listened to a brilliant workshop about 5 years ago, and he went up to his lab in Canada because the speaker said that the suitcase carry was one of the best things for kickers and throwers. And so Stu went up and proved that carrying a weight in one hand, walking, might be one of the best ways to train the ab wall. Joe, do you remember who that brilliant speaker was? Oh, it was me. Yeah. So for us,
been you, Dan.
how amazing. But yeah, so it'll be I mean, like that's why I like med ball throws for ab work, and that's why I like suitcase carry. The suitcase carry is a moving plank. So it's a plank that you're moving. So you get all the qualities of planking, but you're moving. So you get that spinal column, for back health, Stu told me one time, probably the best thing you can do is take a 10-minute walk before every meal. Because that gait movement, that when I'm walking and I'm swinging my arms and my spine is doing this, that's what heals the spinal column. That's what makes the back happy. So when you combine that with something like a suitcase carry, where you're swinging those hips and holding down a tremendous plank, that seems to be a win-win situation.
That's spot on, Dan. So that massively answers that question for a lot of folk out there with regards to abs and the different stuff that we put in place to try and help train that area just to be more strong and stable. But I think I was just going to ask Dan, with we get a lot of questions about how do I prioritize different workouts, because obviously we have loads of different things going on. We have our fitness classes that we have like twice a day. We have our PT sessions that we're having 3 times a day. We've got yoga classes. We've got all these different things going on. So I was just wondering if you could kind of break that down into sort of a priority scale.
Well, what we try to do, is I try to have every workout. One of my basic beliefs is the body is one piece. So when I train, I use that as the fractal for how we train. So every workout should have joint mobility, should have some kind of flexibility, we squat every day. I didn't say we squatted heavy. We do the movement of squatting every day. We do loaded carries every day. We do everything every day because I'm constantly trying to think whole body. So if you do like a goblet squat, another brilliant exercise. Where'd that come from, Joe? Do you remember?
I think it might have been you, Dan.
There you go. If you do a workout, we have a workout called the Sparrow Hawk, where you do 8 goblet squats, you do a suitcase carry, 7 goblet squats, suitcase carry at the other hand, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. It mixes suitcase carries with goblet squats. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. You can get that done in 3 minutes. But what that does, something that simple, for your mobility in your hips, ankles, lower back, it makes you do the moving plank. You're under load the whole time, so your heart rate goes to the roof. Well, when you sit back and you look at a Sparrow Hawk workout, you look at it and you go, well, what was that? What did that build? Well, my answer is, well, we're not worried about it. It's everything. So especially times like this where people have got weird schedules and stuff, well, I'd love to see you get into, try to do as much whole body work as you can. Now, I think the best way to train, now I got ripped on this when I was in, it was real nice of one of you Brits to do this. You're British, right, Joe?
Yeah.
So we're at that conference, and my brother had died the night before, and I was sick. I was sicker than I've ever been in my life, and I'm in England. And some guy took a picture of one of my slides, slid it on Instagram, and said, I don't know what I'm talking about. So, and by the way, I asked out loud the next day who he was, and he didn't raise his hand because I was going to hurt him.
I knew you'd come chasing him. That's what that was.
Yeah, damn right I'd have come chasing him in a loving, kind, Christian-like way. But what we believe, one of the things we believe is, I still am a big fan of the work of Vlad Yanda. He talked about the tonic and phasic muscles. Certain muscles weaken as we age. By the way, you can disagree with me, but I still think it's true. But the glutes, the deltoids, the triceps, and the ab wall. So if you focus on strengthening those and stretching and mobilizing, for example, the muscles that shrink with age, the hamstrings, the hip flexors, the pecs, the biceps. And it's funny, I say this all the time, but if a man flexes his pecs, biceps, hip flexors, and hamstrings, he turns himself into a very old man. So one of the things, if you can think about it, if you do an exercise like a goblet squat, and then the next thing you do is a hip flexor stretch, and then another round of goblet squats, and then hip flexor stretch the other side, you're getting that, you're mobilizing, you're flexibilizing, you're strengthalizing, you're powerizing. You're getting everything just by stepping back and looking what the client needs. And most clients need to be, they need to be stretched out a little bit, and they need to be stretched, I mean, when I first came on the internet, I met these women, and to get in this club, you had to have lost 100 pounds. And one woman told me one time that the secret to weightlifting for this group of women was either squat or deadlift and a press. I read that in 1998, and I have been yet to been proven anything else for the normal person. Work the glutes, work a vertical press, almost all your dreams come true. If all you have time for is a big glute movement and an overhead press, and then do some mobility work and walk out the door, we're talking 6, 7, 8 minutes. That's not bad. Now, is it perfect? No. In fact, I hate the word perfect when it comes to our field, because I think it gets in our way. Because it gets in our way a little bit. This search for perfect that people have, I'm not a big fan of it, because pretty good is still pretty good, you know? And what happens is, and I can guarantee some of your clients, some of your people you work with, they probably struggle a little bit because they have that, they can't get any momentum because their goal is to look like a Victoria's Secrets model, or to look like Joe, and so that's just too high of a standard, it's just too. And so instead of trying to have that, simply get moving. And that's what I try to encourage people to do. That's why I'm a fan of these: go for a walk, do some body weight squats on a fence, hang for a few seconds and walk home. And people go, well, that's not much. Well, did you do it? Well, no. Well, go do it. Funny thing is, then you find a rock and you throw a rock, and then you play Frisbee and you do this, and all of a sudden you make those tiny steps.
I was going to ask Dan as well. That was brilliant. I was going to ask. So we use the MyZone heart rate system. Do you mind at that same conference we had a chat from the guy from MyZone. So the MyZone belts, we use them, and we do little challenges with them quite a lot with our clients, just to try and encourage movement. So we try and encourage people to get out, move, get some MyZone points. And that's what those challenges are really for, is to try and, build that community within. But I was just going to ask as well. So a lot of people end up chasing these points. So that becomes sort of a negative side of it. So people will go out and they'll be like, I need to get these 100 points, and I feel down because I've done this class and I've not got my points, and then now, and then they end up prioritizing points over the movement pattern, or the points over achieving something for the day. So I'm just wondering, what's your point on that?
The gym I go to, by the way, folks, I have a personal trainer. I hire someone to train me. It's important you hear that. I firmly believe that if you coach yourself, you have an idiot for a client, okay? So just to let you know that. My gym is a MyZone gym, and I'm the only person who won't wear it, because I know, with my history of athletics and competition, that I'm going to start chasing points. Because if you have 80 points, that means I have to get 81. And that isn't necessarily where I want to be. I wish they would modify one thing on that. I wish they would use Maffetone's numbers, Phil Maffetone. So these are the numbers I use on heart rate monitors. 180 minus your age is as high as you should go for an aerobic workout. And get going again when you're 160 minus age. So I'm to the point now that I can ruck rucking is a long loaded walk. I have about 2 kilo ankle weights, about 3 kilo, maybe 4 kilo hand weights, and then about a 20 kilo vest, okay? If I walk with my arms low, I get up to 107, which is my target, within a few steps, and I can stay there. Now, if I lighten up, I have to go a little harder, but what's nice about that is that 180 minus age number, it's also, you guys ever heard the breath test, the talk test?
Yeah.
So if you and I can keep talking, then I know our heart rates are appropriate. And I would much rather, like for today, it was a weird day. Like I said, the gas line is out. So we came back to train. We couldn't, because I don't want to work out where it smelled bad. I mean, there was a lot of gas. I mean, it was bad. But, we went on almost a 1 hour walk as a warm up. I probably had my heart rate in the 107 range the entire time. We did a bunch of hills with mini band straps and got here and got done. And I told everybody, it's okay we didn't do the weight workout. It's okay. We just had our heart rate was supposed to be for the better part of an hour. And none of us were burned out. Brian and Mike and Jeff talked the entire time about Broadway and training and all kinds of things. And I knew they were okay because they were talking the whole time. Here's the funny thing. They also built up relationships. So now they care more about each other. So next time they come, you see what I'm saying? So for me, sometimes I think it's better to put the standard down a little bit, especially on the aerobic side. Bring the numbers down so that people they can build on success. I'm making some of the best progress in my life right now, Joe, and I'm 63 because I finally turned off the engine of trying to beat everybody. And I got to tell you that dragon that I have I have a terrible dragon. I always have to win. It's not. Ask my family. We're terrible. My whole family's that way. It's awful. Playing board games. You just got to be very careful with your life here. Yes.
So Dan, so just on that point then, with regards to as people start to get older, and then what becomes the fundamentals with that then? Because obviously, I mean, we don't change those fundamentals at all. Fundamentally, we still believe you need to squat, we need to push, we need to do these things. So as you get older, and obviously the mobility factors start to come into it as well. So guys and girls that can't squat all the way down, and just little points like that. What would you do for that?
Well, what I would say, so I use Nick Raines' numbers. So from 0 to 15, okay? The children should learn every sport, every game, do as many things they possibly can. Don't specialize. Do everything possible. They should know how to ride a bike. They should know how to swim. They should know how to do a push-up, press-up. They should know gymnastics. They should know every game of sport. From 16 to 35, that is kind of the prime real estate of life. And this is the time of life that you really want to get as strong as you can. Because we know from the research, and the research is brand new. It's older than I am. It's from Heidegger's research with the Germans, that the stronger we can get you in your 20s and 30s, the longer that strength stays the rest of your life. So even though I'm 63, when I work out, I still handle very heavy weights because I pushed my strength stress thresholds up here. Now, I am weakening every year. I see it and it breaks my heart, but don't worry, that's the next principle. So hang in there. It's not all bad news. It gets good in a minute. Well, what would be let's say bench press, okay? So I benched 190K, and you benched 90K. Well, as we go through life, we're both gonna slowly drop off performance. But do you see that thing there? That gap stays. So if you can get people stronger from 16 to 35 by appropriate strength training, it's a gift that lasts a lifetime. Once you hit 36 to 55, Pat Flynn has an excellent phrase. The plateau is the new personal record. The plateau is the new PR. So your goal after 36 is to try to stay at that place for as long as you can. If at 46 you still stay at the same strength level, you won. If at 46 you kept your lean body mass at the same place, you won. And then when you get to where I'm at, 56 plus, then it becomes, then you really do harvest the produce of your life. Lean body mass, your body just wants to get fat and soft after 56. Trust me, it is hilarious to watch it happen. I mean, I'll drink, I don't know, I'll have one Guinness, I put on 12 pounds, all in my face. So lean body mass and joint mobility become more and more important then. So it's interesting because I tell people, you should probably train like an Olympic lifter up to 35, a power lifter up to 55, and then become a bodybuilder. And most people flip that around. So there's my cradle.
Your take on that.
There's my cradle to coffin for you right there, okay?
Yeah, Dan, that was absolutely amazing, mate. Thank you very much for that. I'm just going to open it up now for anybody out there that's got any questions for Dan. So if you've got any questions for Dan, just open up your microphone, unmute it, and then just ask your rating. Yeah, go on. Sorry, Steve.
Dan, thanks very much for coming on. I really appreciate it. We met at the IFBA Live, Steve. So, Dan, great to see you, buddy. I'm glad to see you so safe and well. The big point I have for you, Dan, and we've talked a lot about this over the last 6 to 8 weeks, and JC and I have been communicating every week with regards to what's going on with all the other gyms in the UK. What's your take on the new norm, Dan?
So all I can tell you, I look back over my life, and there's most Americans like put their arms around certain events. Like for me, the assassination of John F. Kennedy still almost makes me want to cry. In fact, I almost kind of want to. For my wife, it was the Challenger disaster. We had the space shuttle go up, and they had all of American children watched while 7 people got blown up. And so that was hers. And then there was 9/11, and I thought 9/11 would profoundly change America. Profoundly. And really all it did for us, well, we have this endless war, but the only thing it really changed was getting on airplanes. And so I'm pretty good about, keeping an eye on things. All I got to say is Steve, right? Steve?
Yeah.
I just look out the sky right now, and the air quality in Utah is the best I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
The trees are the healthiest I've ever seen the Utah trees. I don't know how well you guys can see. Can you guys see out the window?
Yeah, so green, Dan.
Can you see those mountains behind there?
Beautiful.
So that's the start of the Rocky Mountains, and the snow is staying up and cleaner than it's ever been. So for the environment, I see good things. Americans are cooking at home again. Americans are stop eating fast food, which part of the reason, and I can say this because you guys aren't American, but I think the reason we're getting hit so hard is because of our obesity epidemic. We know from studies with the flu vaccine that the heavier you are, the less impactful a flu vaccine is happening. And a lot of us are just thinking that we set too many bad things in motion, and then this catalyst, not the cause, the catalyst is the coronavirus. I think, and a lot of us have been talking about this, that things like cooking at home are become more, this is who I am, we cook at home. Yeah. This is what we do. Parents in America have learned that their children aren't the jewels that they thought they were, because they're homeschooling their kids, and in fact, my daughter's a teacher, and she goes, people have more respect for teachers than in my entire career. And I go, yeah, because the little shithead kids are around all day long. Absolutely. And the parents finally understand what little assholes they have, and sorry if I swear.
That's okay.
So I think, Steve, some of the new norm, boy, I'd love to see the air quality like this, the trees. I'd love to. My neighbors are gardening. I have 2 neighbors gardening right now. In this time here, people walk by. The exercise, the gardening, the calling up people and checking in. Boy, if we could just keep those, okay? If we could just keep those, I think the world's a better place. You can see that my high jump bar is kind of set low. But I think if people could keep exercising, keep cooking at home, I live in a place called Utah, and the hoarding, does that translate okay, hoarding?
Yeah.
Okay. The hoarding was terrible the first week, but no one hoarded fresh vegetables. You could get all the vegetables. Get all the vegetables.
It was fucking hoarding toilet roll.
Yeah, but you couldn't find a frozen pizza to save your life. And after about 2 weeks of eating frozen pizza, people are like, maybe I should actually try a vegetable. So I'm hoping, and in our field, the new normal, at first I thought we would lose about a third to maybe 40% of the personal trainers in the United States. I thought we would lose probably a third of the gyms. I'm thinking it's going to be much higher now.
I tend to agree with you on that, Dan. And we spoke in a huge forum last week at the IFBA, and we're working on the basis of 30 to 40% of businesses in our industry, won't come out of this on the other side. We're very fortunate here, in this audience, that we have a really healthy membership with the journey, and we've created a community, Dan. And I feel that the society, with the coronavirus, society has taken the whole community feel and touch away. And we're working extremely hard this side of the pond to try and integrate that community into, whether it's baking, whether it's cooking, whether it's bingo nights, whether it's, having a bit of fun on a Friday and Saturday night. My concern is, going forward, is the new norm of the gym. It's dead easy for us because we run a tight ship down at the journey where it's only small. It's only 1,200 square feet. We have 8 clients in at any one time. Working on the basis that you guys have got at the moment, 100, I think you're working on 100 square feet per client. I think a lot of the bigger gyms will fall and crumble. What's your view on that, Dan? Well,
generally in a crisis, life goes to the nimble.
Of course.
So I got to tell you, Steve, and maybe I shouldn't share this with you, but I have made more money than I have my entire career these last 2 months.
Yeah, absolutely. That doesn't surprise me.
Because I started my first website in 1998. I have thousands of pages of information. I have hundreds of videos. It's a rare day people don't say, I just discovered you. Where have you been? Well, I've been right here, But what helped me be nimble was I decided a long time ago to host a lot of good information and just you hung around me. I'm this guy all the time, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
My old boss, the Archbishop Niederauer, one time said, I was hanging around with these 2 cardinals, and he walked by. We were cardinals of the Catholic Church. We were talking about the Atkins diet. He goes, my God, you never change. I go, yeah, we're talking about the Atkins diet, not paleo. I changed radically. And I think one of the things that's going to help, Steve, and you got to, I don't know, if you have someone who's true to your heart, spouse, friend, your anam cora, someone you can sit down and say to them, okay, we're going to do this thing. We're going to do this thing. Is this who we are? Is this my authentic self?
She just walked in the room, Dan.
How you doing?
Hiya.
I'm Dan. I'm a Virgo.
She must have heard you.
So, I think you really need to. I think authenticity. I use the word integrity a lot. That means being the same person all the time. But this is one of the few times I want to even add the other word to it. Your authenticity. The person you say you are now is so much more important than it was. We could bullshit people 6 months ago about, I'm Dan John, the leading strength and conditioning coach in East Murray, Utah, and get away with that. Well, now you can't just be up there flapping your lips. You have to you're going to have to be nimble.
You have to back it up, and I think that's one of the big things I'm starting. Well, I mean, I'm like you, Dan. I mean, I'm coming up to 50 now. I've been in the industry all my life. I've been in the industry since I was 17, and going through my military background and coming out the other side and creating this environment for people to be themselves. And that's one thing I've really learned since putting the journey together is I've now got members that totally understand our values and our ethos. And that's why they'll stick around. But we've been so busy with online inquiries over the last 2 or 3 weeks based upon the fact that we actually give a shit.
I tell people at the workshop, I gave you my email.
Yeah.
I give you my phone number, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I answer every email. I answer every phone call.
That's true.
And sometimes I get confused, like when Joe asked me to Facebook versus Zoom.
Sorry about that, Dan.
But the thing is, you can't. You can fake authenticity for a while, but when like we say in the States, when the rubber meets the road, that's what you're going to start learning now. You'll really see it. And I know people in the industry. In fact, I have many meals with people who, frankly, are full of shit. And that's going to show.
Yeah, well, we've been facing them for years, Dan. But that you've really helped me answer the question, Dan. I'm very conscious. We've got a lot of our members in just now, and I just want to throw it open to the floor. If any of our members would like to ask Dan a question.
One small thing. I've got about 14 minutes before my next one. Okay.
Yeah, no worries, Dan. Go for it. If anyone wants to ask Dan a question, guys.
I've got a question.
Go for it.
And who are you?
Claire.
Claire.
Hiya. You have a lot of books. Which one of your books would you recommend the most?
Explain your background also, Claire.
It's the one that nobody buys. It's this one up here. Can you see that? It's 40 years with the whistle, man. It's my best work. And that's when I knew the economy, Claire, was going down the toilet. No, seriously. I tell people this, that the fitness industry is the canary in the coal mine. The fitness industry is the first place that shows a recession or depression coming because we are dispensable. So when this book stopped selling well, it didn't sell, I sat down with Tiff and I said, we got to really think about our stocks and our retirement portfolio. And so we went as conservative as we possibly could go because 5 years ago, I'd go to a workshop and there'd be 200 people. Last year, it'd be 25. We're the canary in the coal mine. That's indicating something. So I would say 40 years with the whistle is my best work. So the first third of it, Claire, is the lessons I've learned, and that's 42 now, but in 42 years of coaching. And really, it's nothing. I can give you the whole book right now. Constant assessment. You're constantly assessing, constantly upgrading. I believe that the fundamentals are the most important thing you can do. The next part of the book is kind of, I hate to call it my story, but I talk about my mentors, and I did it chronologically about how I kept, there's a phrase that's in almost every language, when the student is ready, the master appears. And I felt like several times, literally, this literally used the correct way, not the way that people in Britain use it, but literally, I bumped into Dick Notmeyer when he was on his way to the bathroom at a weightlifting meet. And I later heard that he was Dick Notmeyer of the Pacifica Barbell Club. And I went up and I said, "Jeepers, can I join your gym?" And he said, so that's how I became one of Dick Notmeyer's Olympic lifters. There's the story about how I ended up at Utah State, where I threw the discus. All my life, I've been just doing these things, and I kept bumping in. And the final section of the book is what I think today, even though that still changes almost by, I wouldn't say by the month anymore, but it still expands. I'm constantly trying to make things a little bit easier to coach and cue. Here's a real quick one. This is a big one. I was watching a very bad personal trainer. God bless the awful coaches, because you learn so much. You ever want to learn a lot, watch a shitty coach. And so, and actually she's coaching me, and I'm doing a double kettlebell press with more weight than she weighed, I swear to God. And she does something like, tell your rib cage to alert the periphery of the xycoid, and the fuck. So a cue is what you say when someone's doing something, I realized. And the cues I like are like, squeeze, stay tall. Stay tall is a great one. Another one in collision sports, bounce, man, you got to bounce. So hold on just a quick second here, okay? You're about to, I'm going to take 1 minute, okay?
He'll be off to get a book. Watch this. Hang fire, Claire.
He's going to bounce his kid off the desk.
Hold on. His guard will be on fire in a second with a gas leak. Just hang fire. He's a great speaker, though, isn't he, Dan?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. It's called multitasking.
Love it.
Sorry. So we got the gas line broken. We got a sprinkler line broken. Got my daughter hanging out with a friend on the back deck. Grandma took the dog. My wife just got home. So other than that, there's nothing going on up here.
Legend.
Great work, Dan.
Wait, hold on. Okay, I'm okay.
The way
Okay.
you said about training for strength, obviously I do powerlifting.
Yeah.
I only got into it from training at the Journey. I've done kind of sport throughout my life, but actually training in the gym and then doing strength training, loved it so much and got into powerlifting, and I've done really well. But obviously I've now hit that. I started obviously at the not peak time. I started about 36, 37,
Sure.
and I'm now 40. Is it possible to increase like my max numbers even now?
Let me give you a good example of someone I know well. Me. My best year as a discus thrower was 47. So here's the thing, though. It was the first couple of years where I wasn't stupid anymore. Oh, speaking of here, this completely unsaid. This is my journal from that year, and I've been going through it to prepare myself, just for some talks I've been giving. And one thing I do with my journals, and Claire, I want you to think about this. As I go into every journal, I will type up and come up with, here's some ideas I want to have. And as I exit a journal, I will, this time it was handwritten, but I'll handwrite the lessons of the season. It's funny because low carb, eat eggs, milk, and eggs, meat, fish. In the weight room, basically hang snatches, sleds, this weighted Scottish Highland game hammer.
Yeah.
And it says farmer walks. This is the year I discovered loaded carries. And it's just funny to see this. And it's like, I got it written down there. It's like, yeah, this seems to work. And now I'm like the guy, if I don't say loaded carries at a workshop, I get booed, It's like Frank Sinatra not singing My Way, Jeez, So I think there's one thing I would really emphasize for you is make sure you use this as much as you use this.
So we've probably got time for one more question, guys. I know that we've got Josh in. Josh is a visitor from another gym. Josh, have you got anything you'd like to ask Dan, buddy? Just unmute.
Hi, Steve.
Josh. Hi, mate.
How you doing? Just a quick one, Dan. Just a few of our clients have, obviously some have gone onto the online sessions and some haven't. What kind of sort of stuff would you be doing to like check in with the people that haven't done as much training or have just kind of thought, or are treated as a bit of a holiday? How would you sort of go about like checking in on them?
Well, so I have 2 forums you can visit, and so my friends are called the Dan John Q&A. That's at davedraper.com. But the formal site, danjohnuniversity.com, we can only do so much. One thing we do notice is that, so a lot of people now, it's great. So it's called the workout generator. And by the way, if you go there, danjohnuniversity.com, type in the word Corona, Corona, and you get a 3-month membership for $29, which is usually a month is 30 or something like that. So as long as the virus is impacting people, I would give it away, but I just can't. I got to pay people to do this stuff. But when you go in there, go type in the workout generator, go fill in like a home workout, just test it out, and then go to the the workout logs and see how some people are doing it. Mostly, I do some personal training online, but I put the price point so high that, and I can't talk about who some of the people are. So, but right now, let's get back to that phrase, pretty good is pretty good, okay? And if people are trained, that's pretty good, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough one. But come on, I mean, just think about the poor school teachers doing homeschooling. I mean, how do they keep access? Hey, wait, come here.
Special guest.
Hey, everybody. This is my wife, Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Say nice things.
Hi from Scotland.
Hey.
We
We're
love
all
Scott.
in Scotland.
We've got the same view outside our window, Dan, of a beautiful big loch and big mountains. So we're very blessed.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Okay, done it. Kids are in the back.
Okay.
Love you.
I'm gonna set up to work.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, I'll visit. Oh, sorry, guys. So she had to go to work today. And
Guys,
so,
has anybody else got any questions for Dan just before we let him get away?
yeah, I got another one in just a few minutes. So yeah.
Okay, guys, if there's no more questions, Dan, thank you very much for your time. We've all massively appreciated it. Definitely helped a lot of us out. So,
Okay, folks, dan@danjohn.net. Okay. If you have any questions, and Claire, I'd like to keep a tally on how that lifting's going. And Steve, if you wouldn't mind, let me know about how those conversations are going on.
I will do, buddy. I'll stay in touch with you, mate.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot for this opportunity, everybody. It's very nice to meet Steve's wife. She's much nicer.
You too. Sorry, I missed the first part.
She was out taking yoga, Dan. That's a terrible excuse. She was working on all that mobility stuff.
Oh, that stuff is bad for you. All right, guys, I got to roll.
Thanks for coming, mate. All the best.
thank you very
Bye-bye.
much, Dan.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, that was excellent, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very good, Joe. Well done, buddy.
Very
coach.
good, very good. Have you got anything else, Steve? Any closing comments, mate?
No, apart from that, that sort of stuff that we've got going on there is just again a credit to what we're trying to do for our members at the journey. I'm sure you all took value in that in some shape or form. Again, for you, Josh, it's just another perspective from another gym perspective. I know that I speak to your coaches all the time, but it's really nice sometimes just to get a different set of eyes and ears coming on to talk to, with the most valuable part of our business. The most valuable part of our business is our clients, and we don't forget that. So that's why we're constantly moving the program forward. We're constantly trying to make sure that we're adapting the program, and I'm constantly trying to challenge the staff as well to take themselves out of the comfort zone, which is exactly what you've had to do tonight, Joe. So well done. It's the first thing that you've done, as in hosting yourself, and absolute credit, Joe. Well done, buddy. Fantastic.
Thank you very much, mate. Okay, team, if
See you
you've got
later,
any
guys.
questions for me, if not, then we'll just leave it there for tonight. No? Okay,
Thanks, guys.
well, take care, team. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.